In this video, I'll review a Photoshop script I coded for managing design layers in a document. These Photoshop documents could be your own designs or templates that you may have purchased. The script has various useful functions, so let's review them in detail. I have a PSD design open, which I'll feature to demo the script. It's a Facebook status image about my AI agent services. It has several design layers, and some of them are grouped. Let's execute the script from the File menu. It's called Avantscape Layer Manager. In an overview, we have all these tabs at the top like Rename and others. Each tab gives you several useful options to organize your layers. We'll start reviewing the Rename tab. On the Rename tab, you have some options to find a specific layer by its name and then rename it to something else. And the matching type could be exact or partial, which means if you type a part of the name, it's going to be matched and renamed to whatever you specify in the rename field. For instance, over here we have new, this new layer name over here, new 1, 2, 3. We could just rename it to something else. So we just type new over here and rename it to design, for example. And it could be a partial match because we have all these numbers with the name as well. So if you click apply here, it's going to rename all the layers to what we specified. So this operation could be performed on all the layers in the document or within a certain group. So for example, if we were to just rename these layers within the group 1 folder, we could just type group 1 here, and then we could type design here because that's the name which we renamed it to. And then we can rename it to new again. The matching type could be partial. So if now we execute the script and click apply, it doesn't found a group with the name group 1. So you have to specify the full name over here, which is group 1 in this case. So if you click apply, it has renamed all the layers in group 1 with the name that we specified. And if you click include nested, it's also going to rename the layers that are within a certain group, which is a subgroup of the main group that you specified over here, which in this case is group 2. So any layers in this group are also going to be renamed if you click include nested. Next, we have the overall tab. This is quite a simple one. It's just going to attach a suffix or a prefix to all the layers and also append dimensions. In this case, we're just going to append dimensions and click apply. Now it has appended dimensions, and we can see them with the layer names. And all these layers were blank, so the dimensions are 0 by 0. But some of the non-blank layers have dimensions attached to them based on what the vertical and horizontal dimensions were. So for example, the customer text layer has 792 by 67 pixels. If we move on to the numbering tab, this is also quite simple. It just attaches a serial number to all the layers. So if we were to attach a name or actually a number, we just type 1, which is going to be the initial number. And also we can choose Roman numerals here, but in this case, I'll leave it at default. You click apply. It's going to append all these numbers to the layers as well. And just like the overall tab and the rename tab, you also have the operation scope option. If you're just trying to attach numbers to all of the layers in the document or just layers in a specific group, which you can specify here. And next we move on to the group option. This tab is a bit more complicated than the others. It's going to match a certain layer that you type over here, a layer name basically. And then you can specify the partial match option, which is going to just match a part of the name and then group those layers basically to another group. For example, let's regroup all the layers that contain the word new. And this could be, well, let's leave it at default right now. My group, and matching type would be partial, and group color could be red. So if we execute it with the operation scope all layers in document, it's going to browse through the entire document and match the layers that contain the name new and put them in a group that's called my group. Now, if this group doesn't exist, it's going to create the group and then reassign the layers into this group. But if you already have this group, it's just going to move the layers into the group. In this case, we don't have this group, so it's going to create a new group. The operation is complete, and all the layer names that contain the text new are grouped into a new group that's called my group. And this also has the operation scope option like the other tabs. So if we move on to the next one, which is ungrouping, you don't have to click any option over here unless you're trying to also delete the groups, which we'll get to in a while. So if you click apply while you're at this tab, it's just going to ungroup every layer in all the groups, and there will be no groups. So if you click apply here, all the layers in the document have been ungrouped and the groups are empty. Now, if you had clicked delete empty groups after regrouping, it would have also deleted the empty groups. But if you, for some reason, did not click it, you can also remove the empty groups in the next tab, which is pruning. Now, this has a few useful options. We'll start off with the empty groups that became empty when we ungrouped the layers. So my group is empty. There's like group 1, group 2. These are also empty. So if you click delete empty groups, it's just going to delete the groups that are empty. So they're just cluttering your document. You can just, get rid of them. So it has recursively deleted all the groups that were empty that had no layers. And it has also presented you a summary of how many groups were empty and how many were deleted. So in this case, we had 4 empty groups that have now been deleted. We also have other pruning options like the layers that are invisible. So in this case, we have this customer layer that's invisible. Now, this is a useful option because you might have layers in the document that you were just comparing while designing your document. And certain layers were left as design options that were not chosen. So just to finalize the document, you can click this option and click apply. We can leave the delete empty groups unchecked because they've already been deleted. So if you have this checked, delete layers with visibility off, all the invisible layers are also going to be deleted. So in this case, it's browsing through the entire document and all the layers have been deleted, which were invisible. And then we also have the option to delete layers that match a certain name. So if I were to type new over here, it's just going to delete all the layers that have new in their name. So let's try this option. So it has deleted all the layers that matched this name. Now we can also delete the layers that are empty with 0 by 0 dimensions. So layer 1, 2, 3, and all these layers are empty. So if we click this and then click apply, it's going to delete all the empty layers. And it's also presenting you with a summary of how many layers were empty. So in this case, we had 6 layers that were empty and they're deleted. And finally, we just have this help tab, which has basic documentation and it describes what each tab does, and that's it. And you can also email me in case you have any problems with the script or visit the website.